Hey everyone, I'm Nick Allen with Proximity Lab. We're a UX research strategy and design agency, and I'm really pleased to be having this Q&A session with my friend and former colleague, Don Dodge. So Don, you are an absolute legend in the software industry, having been involved in companies like Google, Microsoft, Groove, Napster, Alta Vista, but now your focus is on startups, investing and advising on next-gen software companies, building solutions around blockchain, decentralized finance, and smart contracts. Since you and I have recently been talking about the role that AI is playing in so many of your portfolio companies, thought it would be good to share some of that dialogue with the audience. So if you look at the traditional Gartner hype cycle, do you think we're headed for the trough of disillusionment after so much expectation, or how do you see this playing out?
It's inevitable that we will see the hype cycle. The Gartner hype cycle is there for a reason. It happens every time that you see one of these big technology shifts or platform shifts. So it's quite common. And I don't think we're in the trough of disillusionment yet, but we're getting there. We're already seeing startup valuations start to come down a little bit and taking longer to raise money. So that's a signal that the market, or at least the investment market, is saying, whoa, hold on here. We got a little too far ahead of ourselves. So yeah, I think we're going to follow that same path.
So you are an investor in this space. So how do you assess the competitive advantage of software startups who are incorporating AI into their strategy and design processes?
We're very early in the game, so it's hard to see clear winners, but I see them at two opposite ends of the spectrum. I see companies, startups that have deep domain experience in something like retail or healthcare or insurance or finance or whatever vertical market. You know, they understand that vertical market really well, and they're bolting on AI capabilities. Or at the other end of the spectrum, I see these machine learning AI experts that are wizards in the technology, but don't have domain experience in a particular business. So it's harder for them to put together a application that gets product market fit very well. So what you're looking for is the Venn diagram of founders and companies who have both domain experience in a particular industry and have AI technical experience. If you can find companies that have both, your odds of success are higher, but it's a pretty small number right now. It's easy to find people who have domain experience and are bolting AI capabilities on, and those are the easier bets. But the big winners are going to be the ones who have deep AI experience and are bringing new capabilities to market and then finding that product market fit. It's not easy in either case, but there's a little less risk in one than the other.
Do you imagine that the chat GPT framework of text-based input will form the core front end to a lot of these AI digital experiences, or will that style of interaction be one of many?
I think one of many. It's the one that you see now. And I'm kind of remembering back to my Alta Vista days, and that was 25 years ago. When the first search engines came out, you would struggle to put together a search query that made sense in terms of bringing back useful results. And we're seeing some of that with ChatGPT, where you have to form your question reasonably well in order to get good results from ChatGPT. But that will improve. And the fact that it can do it at all is astonishing, that you can put some number of words or phrases into ChatGPT and within a few seconds get a well-formed answer or at least a first draft of what you want to do. So it's incredible that it works at all, and it will get better over time. To answer your question, is that the best UI, or will there be many of them? Yeah, I think there will be many different instantiations. In fact, I think the future of AI is going to be very specialized. Right now, ChatGPT is a generic, lowest common denominator kind of AI response. And what we're going to see is AIs for healthcare, AI for education, AI for finance. And the reason is that those generic large language models that underlie this stuff will be more specialized and focused on particular industries and particular tasks. So there's a lot to do.
What do you think are the best current real world examples of game-changing AI in today's market? And this is an open invitation to maybe talk about some of the projects you're working on.
I think it depends on what you're trying to achieve. And machine learning, which is a subset of AI, has been around a long time. And we've seen it creep into all kinds of different applications that we use every day, like Google search as an example. If you put a search into Google search, it will give you the answer, or it will give you the 10 links or 20 links. But if you scroll down a little bit, it will say other people asked, and it will give you like 5 or 10 different queries that are somewhat related to what you put in there, but maybe more specialized and deeper. That's a case of machine learning getting into a regular Google search in a seamless way that just kind of adds value and asks questions that you didn't directly ask, but maybe should have asked. So I think we're seeing machine learning, which is the subset of AI, in lots of different products already. And it's so seamless in the design that you don't even really notice it. It doesn't make you change the way you work. It just works. And that's the real, I think, challenge to AI is the whole UI UX part of it. And how you introduce AI, whether it's expected behavior or whether the product is expecting you to change the way that you work or your work processes. So I sort of break it again into two different camps of, is the AI seamlessly integrated into a workflow and an application that you're accustomed to? Or is it a whole new way of working and requires you to change the way you work? So I think it really divides right there, and then the path it goes down is different in each case.
So a lot of AI's current success is based on large models that scrape writing, art, other artifacts in the web. As this evolves, how do you envision content creators pushing back, through courts or other means, potentially limiting the capability of AI and what it has access to?
We already have copyright laws and ways to protect creative content. Those things are well known, but they're very difficult to actually prove, and even more difficult and costly to prosecute. So a copyright or a patent is really only as good as your ability and financial capability to defend it and enforce it. ChatGPT looks at large language models made up of things that have been on the internet for a long time, sorts through all of that, and kind of gives you a generic lowest common denominator answer. It rarely, if ever, copies word for word something that exists out there. It's more of a zeitgeist of all of the content that's out there and is effectively writing a new answer to a question based on snippets of hundreds of other things. So that's a long way to say, I understand it's scary, but I think the answers are so generic and not word for word that it's going to be pretty hard to prove copyright infringement. I don't think the AI people have interest in trying to rip off people or unfairly use content. So I understand the concern. I don't think it's going to be a real big problem.
You and I talked about this before. A first draft of something like ChatGPT to get your ideas across can get you maybe to 70%, but it puts the onus back on the ultimate author to refine that and put it in a voice and meaning of their own, right?
Yeah, I see AI as a time saver that gives you a first draft or does a great job of summarizing a document. Like if you have a 50-page document and you don't want to read it all, you just want a summary of it. AI is really good at that. If you're in a Zoom meeting and there's 5 or 10 different people talking, taking notes in that meeting and then summarizing that meeting, AI is really good at that. In terms of writing a document and then just hitting publish, or writing a contract or anything else and just hitting publish, no, it's not there yet. It's a first draft. It's a time saver helper, but not ready for prime time to just have AI take over and do it on a first cut.
Our clients who are creating digital products are always looking to build the most compelling, efficient, and useful products. So AI is just another one of these disruptive technologies. You're the advisor on any of these companies that are asking these questions at the board level. What role does AI have on our business? How will it impact our product, from research to design and everything in between? How do those conversations go, and what's your take?
I think any new technology that gets into the mainstream, the UI UX design part of the product is critically important to the seamless adoption of the technology. And typically, software developers are really good at finding a problem and creating the features to fix it or make it easier. They're not very good at understanding UI UX considerations. They sort of expect that the user will accept what's being put out on the screen and just sort of adapt to it. So the companies I work with, I tell them, great, the underlying technology and the infrastructure that you've built looks really good and it works in the successful path case, but you need to think about, are you asking the user to change the way they work? Are you asking them to change their workflow or how they interact with the application? If you are, then the UI UX is the most critical piece of what you do. If you're not asking them to change the way they work and the AI is sort of seamlessly integrated into it and it just makes the experience better, then the UI UX isn't quite as important. So it depends on what the new company is trying to do and how they're introducing the AI. I'll give you an example. I'm an investor in a company that is doing a personal assistant. And the personal assistant is someone who knows you and how you think and how you would answer, and jumps in and gives you a response or gives you something that you could try to do. And that's kind of jolting, offsetting to people if they don't expect that to happen. So UI UX is really important when you're sort of inserting the application or inserting the AI into the application in ways that you don't expect. There are some unique challenges there to be helpful, but not spooky, and interject into the workflow without being disruptive. So I've seen a bunch of those companies, and it's not an easy problem to solve, but if you get it right, it's amazing and just incredibly helpful and intuitive. The adoption will be great, but it's not as easy as it sounds.